Hi everybody, I'm Julie Gessner. Today, as you were logged into the conference, you were placed on mute. So if you are not on mute, if you could kindly just make sure that your phones are placed on mute, and that will help to avoid background noise as we present today. Welcome to Get Connected, a monthly webinar series focusing on CU Answers management services and the people who drive them. I'm your host, Julie Gessner. I'm the sales coordinator here at CU Answers Management Services. Get Connected offers a brief 30-minute web conference session introducing the value of brands here at CU Answers Management Services. Sessions include a discussion of what's hot in the industry and help participants plug into resources within CU Base and within the CUAsterisk.com network. Sessions are intended to be informative, fun, and as you know, you were asked questions before today's presentation. Today, we're joined by Jim Vilker, Vice President of Professional Services here at CU Answers. Jim, tell us why you're here and what you do.
To have fun with you for 30 minutes, Julie.
Awesome.
And everybody else that's on the call. I run a division here at CU Answers called AuditLink. Many of you that are on the call today actually do some sort of business with AuditLink, be it daily work, vendor management. We'll discuss other things that we do. And so basically what AuditLink is it's all about compliance, driving down the cost of compliance, the best practices, communicating, creating a peer environment that all of our credit unions who have compliance geeks can play in, educate, train, cooperatively build together. We do all of that. AuditLink also then is our client support. So my team supports you through a myriad of things, exams, audits, whatever it may be, questions about a specific regulation, process, best practice. That's probably what we do the most, but as important, we support our teams internally. So I'll support the conversion team through the conversion process with a new client. I'll support the programming team as it relates to potentially something that came out of DC to CFPB and we need to make changes. So do a lot of stuff. Never a dull moment.
Well, who's Jim Vilker?
Who's Jim Vilker? Jim Vilker is an employee of CU Answers that's been here for 20 years as of February 23rd. Wow. Originally came on board CU Answers, and my first job was to do Y2K back in 1998. Fun for everybody. Yeah, 1998. I know. We just had one of our client service reps in here that said she was born in 1997. Married to Laura Welch Vilker, Vice President of Client Services here. Our passions are probably, our biggest passion is scuba diving. Oh. We love to scuba dive. We try to get to warm weather climates a couple times a year. Obviously, our other passion is our children. And although they're getting older, we don't spend as much time with them as we'd like to. But once in a while, they decide they want to stop in and see Dad. And then we have fur babies as well. We have 2 fur babies that come to work with us almost every day. I'm a graduate of the University of Wisconsin. Graduated back in 1985 in finance and MIS, and I have been a partner of Randy Carnes since 1988 or 90.
So Jim, did this job find you, or did you find the job?
That's an interesting. I was a Pfizer client at Western Cooperative Credit Union in Williston, North Dakota, and at that time, my actual rep was Randy Carnes. When he worked at Pfizer, he was hired by a credit union that I was an examiner on. So he got tired of arguing with me and just hired me at the credit union. The job found me. I needed to get home. My parents were aging, and I'm originally from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. So Randy reached out to me after about 8 years in Williston, North Dakota, and obviously before that I was an examiner for 5 years. But he reached out to me to say, hey, I think you'll really fit. I worked in a cooperative environment. The credit union I worked at was named Western Cooperative Credit Union. Just about every business in that small rural town started from a cooperative spirit. So Randy knew that, and he knew how much I enjoyed it. Together we started co-ops when we were up there, and he knew I'd fit in this environment. So it just did.
Well, that's excellent. So it's a cooperative service, really, in that spirit of cooperation that really drives you, it sounds like.
It does. I like the vendor management product. When I see something where a credit union's doing it independently, but every credit union's doing it independently of each other, it grinds to my core. When I know that when we cooperate and build things in that light of that, it saves time, it saves money, it creates a peer group for, it's just discussion, and that does drive me. And almost everything that we've ever done or I've ever done here in my career, I don't do things one-off anymore. It just doesn't make sense.
Jim, tell me about the mission of AuditLink.
Our mission is to drive down the cost of compliance, period. That is what we were designed to do almost 10 years ago. After about 3 years into the division, Randy actually went to a leadership conference and said, this is what we're doing. We are going to drive down the cost of compliance. We're going to create a network of peers that can share. And that's what we've stayed true to that all along. And the businesses and the products that we create, we don't even think about it or try. It just happens when we're creating these types of businesses.
So you talk about we. Tell me who the we is.
Well, the we is these people that are watching us today, because most of the time the ideas start out in the field, in the credit union. The we's are our board of directors coming to me saying, we've got a problem with auditing because I have 5 half bodies doing this type of work. We can't do it. Generally speaking, the ideas don't come from this building or the 44th Street office where I'm located. They come from external and then drive it in. Many times it's through our boards, our board of directors. Now, when all of a sudden AuditLink says, yep, I think we can attack this, that's myself, my right hand, Marcia Sapino, who is the assistant manager and is also an external auditor. She's in the field a lot. And then I've got 8.5 bodies that are actually executing on behalf of our partners that are hiring us to do specific tasks.
Okay. Yeah, and I've watched your team's work, and it's a network in itself, right? It's kind of fun to watch how the team interaction goes and between yourselves, each other, and then our clients externally. So it's just really an exciting thing to actually watch. And everybody, if you will meet Marcia next month too and get connected.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Tell me about the evolution of AuditLink.
AuditLink was originally formed to do the daily log management. That's a service that we offer. I think that's really where it got its feet moving. And I want to say it's close to 10 years ago, where we do the daily BSA monitoring for credit unions, the dormancy, the high-risk activities, the employee accounts, file maintenance. That's where it was born. Now, that doesn't mean that CU Answers didn't have myself and a lot of very talented people as it relates to compliance. I've been here 10 years prior to that doing much of what I do today, just in a different way. And that started an execution arm that blossomed. The first year, we brought on 6 credit unions, and a lot of it just wasn't CU Answers. CU Northwest, our partner in Spokane, really pushed us in too, because I was literally out there at a board meeting, and the board looked at me and said, "We're all going to hire you. How much are you going to cost? And we're going to collectively hire you." And that's, I went, Spokane, maybe. No, I love Grand Rapids. And that's really how we got to start. Now, the evolution that we've gone through since then, our major goal is to support the network. That is our major goal. And it's part of the package, right? It's part of you being with CU Answers, CU Northwest or CU South, whichever so it is. That's our main goal. Obviously, there's revenue centers as well, but those revenue centers are not designed with wide margins because we're supposed to be disruptive and we're working cooperatively for all of our credit unions, so we're trying to drive that down. That's just how it started. And then the brand.
Tell me about that.
The brand is amazing. I don't know who came up with AuditLink, Julie. I honest to God.
Maybe a contest. We like contests.
I don't have a clue. But I remember the chain, the old chain we had, and that it's interlocking, and then one thing should lead to another. And that's pretty much how it got its start. The brand today now, as of today, with a lot of your help, launched a new website. CU Answers is not in the domain name. AuditLink is.
What is your website?
AuditLinkSuite.com.
So check that out.
Yep. And there's a reason now that, and it's not that I love being an employee of CU Answers, and it's not that AuditLink is trying to go off on its own, become its own QSO, although that has been discussed. It more so is the people that we're serving now are just not people that are on the gold platform. So AuditLink is at a point in its history now where we're saying we can do vendor management for any credit union in the country. Marcia and I are speaking now. I mean, the brand has gotten that big where NASCIS is coming to me saying, you know, can you speak on cybersecurity and on Bank Secrecy Act? So the brand is definitely becoming a marketplace known brand. Right.
So it's becoming a national presence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which has been really exciting to watch. So check that out. Look at the AuditLink Suite website. So it's AuditLinkSuite.com. Take a look there. There's a lot of great information that Jim's put out and Marcia's put out about vendor management and about all the AuditLink branded services that are available. So check that out for sure. And the store. Tell me about your store.
Oh, absolutely.
What is a store?
What is a store? It's a virtual retail environment is what our stores are now. Yeah, we're going through business, and Julie and I are going through our business development classes. We have them in early winter into spring of every year. And this year's, we have a theme that we go into it, and this year's on pricing, which is really interesting. Yeah. Where is our pricing found, and why are we different? And what one of the things we wanted to introduce a virtual retail presence to show credit unions what it looks like. How do I buy AuditLink services virtually? And how do I describe them? But even more importantly, and I think what you're going to see too when you go out to the stores, because a lot of us have stores, a lot of the CMS team have stores, it's forcing us to market differently, to speak differently, to explain our value proposition, and to be transparent. Very few firms that do audit work, we do BSA, ACH audits, duration analysis, and things like that, will actually tell you what the price is going to be even before it's always, we'll bid it.
Yeah, and another thing I really like about the store is accessibility, right? So if you haven't checked out the CU Answers stores yet, take a look at those. We have over 500 products and services available to you on the store, which was really exciting. I just found that out yesterday. So yeah, I know. I was like really excited about that because accessibility is so important for us. Where you can get to us where you're at, we know credit union environments are changing, that you are working when maybe we're not, right? So it's always important to be accessible to get information and get products and services where you're at and when you need them. So check that out.
And what was really surprising, the first product we sold on the store was 2 months ago. It was an ACH annual review for a credit union. And I didn't think the audit pieces, I didn't think would be purchased on the store, because a lot of times CEO, CFO wants to talk to us first, and they just bought it, and they just, let's go. For those of you who don't know, one of our big initiatives has always been exam innovation. And we work with Ron Daly, Virtual Strongbox, state regulators on how can we create these virtual environments where we can share information securely, where they don't have to walk in your credit union. And in the state of Michigan, obviously, we've been talking to John a lot about it. They've actually are considering using the site. We've done virtual audit. Now we said, we got to drink our own Kool-Aid. So now we've started doing virtual audits as well. So we don't have to be in your credit union anymore to do a BSA and ACH audit. We can do it remotely. And then as far as physical security and things like that go, might need a little bit of help from Skype. But regardless, our goal is, if we're in your credit union, we're bothering you. You're busy. We feel the same about examiners. There's absolutely no reason an examiner should ever need to walk through the door of a credit union when everything can be exchanged in this environment electronically. So that's been a big initiative of ours over the last 3 months.
You mentioned a key word, which was just really knowledge, right? And innovation. So one of the questions that one of our clients asked prior to today's conference was about that. How do you train yourself within the AuditLink team?
I should have researched that question. It is a function of interacting with peer groups. And, you know, you can't take a class on auditing, or it's very hard to take a class on building a vendor management program. It really is the interaction, the peer groups that you belong to. The more the better, especially for somebody like me or Marcia or any of my team. My team is connected because obviously the medical marijuana thing that's come up now in many states, and we're doing the BSA work. How do we do our research? And it's really, I'm surprised because I do, when I'm communicating with my peers in the network, one of the things that we frequently share is, what feeds are you getting every day? What RSS feeds? What emails? Who are you subscribing to? Because it's ongoing. You don't stop learning because attack vectors are changing every day. New regulations are coming into play. So for myself, my mentors generally have been the larger organizations, the NAFQs and the Steve Van Beeks and the Brian Knights at NASCUS, and you know, those are the people that I try to interact with because they're putting me in circles to keep me in the loop. Some credit unions feel that's a little expensive, but they're cooperatively buying me.
Right.
So I'm cooperatively investing to bring that back into our network. Yes, I mean, CAMS this year I'm going to, and I'll probably, I don't know if I'll speak at CAMS this year, but you know, it's just a function of who you're talking to and continuously training. Now, my team that does the daily work, that's a specific training regiment that we've developed, and it's taken a lot of time, and it probably changes once every 3 months. And the beauty of that is the procedures that we have in place are documented procedures. We're doing the same things that credit unions are doing that aren't using us, right? So what we've created is basically a go-to guide for credit unions to say, well, how do we audit? You know, how do we do BSA? How do we review file maintenance? And then that training and everything that we've learned then creates innovation in, well, I think I could peel off another 10 minutes of time if the software just did that. And so that's our responsibility, right? It's to feed it feeds the actual code that credit unions are using every day. So not only are you participating in getting new innovative software, we're doing the work too, right alongside of you, and then we're doing it.
Yeah. So another favorite things I love about working at CU Answers is I get to ask why all the time, every day. Why? Right? Because that drives innovation.
It does.
Right? And I just love that about working here. And I noticed that a lot on your team members, they are asking why, and they're asking how can I do things more efficiently and differently and better for the credit union, and I just love that. So that's one of the great things about your team.
That manufacturing, we call it manufacturing time. You hear that a lot in this building. Before we start pouring bodies at things or manual processes, what we try to do is say, have we innovated it to try to manufacture time first? And you're right. We can't do it every time. Obviously, we're not geniuses.
When
it happens, and that's kind of what drives us all here.
It's fun. You had mentioned the word intelligence and collaboration several times, right? And that, what by intelligence I mean is the knowledge and the strength that you're gaining as individuals on your team, right? From the mentors that you're learning from and sharing that across the network. But there's another component to that, and that you mentioned partners, right? So talk about your partners and how that drives your innovation internally.
And when you say partners, I take it you mean our credit union partners and how we're doing it, or our vendor partners?
Both.
Okay, well, so let's start with the credit union partners. The peer group that I'm most involved with is majority of which are probably Midwest people, but they're credit unions from 5 million to 1.3 billion. It's all across the board. Just the fact that, and we get together and we talk, and we're trying to solve something. We're almost always trying to solve something that we don't want to solve on our own. Well, just by virtue of going through that process and saying, it's not always a problem, right? It could be, this would really work if we did this. That in and of itself creates a process of innovation, because we're always saying there's something that we need to get to, there's something that needs to get done, there's something that we need to do faster, there's something that we need to do because we have outside regulatory pressure and we need to get there. We're always, from a partner's perspective, we're building it together, and that's what that's what co-ops are supposed to do. We're not supposed to sit here and say we're the think tank. We're not. We're the coordination piece of our network. We are the ones who pull it together and then make the investment decisions for credit unions. I think that's the best way of saying it. You've aggregated yourselves now to say, we need tools. We pay CU Answers. CU Answers needs to invest in innovation to make our lives better, easier, our members' lives, their financial futures better, easier. And so that's kind of how the partners do. Now, my vendor partners are interesting because we are now I've got 3 partners that I work with frequently. The most recent partner is a partner that we searched for almost a year and a half. That partner, and there's a reason for it, because credit unions are getting coerced by regulators that they don't have robust enough data analytics on the Fraud and the Bank Secrecy Act. And I completely disagree with that altogether, but it doesn't matter. They're actually being required to buy secondary, tertiary software packages to run transactional analytics on. Fraud management, financial crimes management. We said enough is enough. And those packages had issues with them. We needed to be real time or near time. So we went out and found a partner called Fortress. They're our most recent. We're in the middle of that, the build right now, going to beta here in about another 4 weeks with 3 credit unions, where we're actually going to be analyzing transactional data, much like the Verifins and the Yellowhammers and the Patriot officers of this world, but we're going to do it in our environment behind. The reason why we partnered with them is the reason why we partner with most. We went out and said, when we're done, we're going to learn. We're here to learn. And when we're done, we're going to learn the best things about a fraud management platform and then put them in the payment streams of CU base. Well, they all believe, this is our secret sauce and nobody can have it. Well, we're not going to go at it that way. We wanted to go at it to say, no, that rule is going to work really good in the debit card environment. They wanted to do that. They were a fledgling company they were building. AuditLink's a fledgling company we're building. We fit really well. We have not invested in that company, but we have an investment in another company called Trust Exchange. Trust Exchange is the tool set that we use for vendor management. And again, it took a long time to find somebody who understood the words network effect. We needed to bring that to bear. All the other companies say, no, we're going to do it. We're going to do the work for this credit union. We're going to do the work for this credit union. We needed a company that said, we need the new Dun & Bradstreet. We need one instance of Vantif, and anybody who's a client of Vantif, we're going to do the work for. and we're going to expose the due diligence of Vantive to them with Vantive's permission. So the partners that we look for are a little different. They almost have to, they don't have to be co-ops or QSOs, but they almost have to be bought into the concept that we're going to build upon those principles, and that's kind of how we choose partners.
Yeah, and
Ron Daly is
know.
the same way.
When we all work shoulder to shoulder together, and they know that, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere, but just the partnership of what it brings to the table, right? The innovation and the focus and the drive and the power that we can bring to our credit unions just from that exchange. So I love that.
And the beauty for them, obviously, especially for fledgling companies like Fortress Plus, is that we're the focal point. We are the experts now. There's nobody that's going to go onto the fraud management platform will ever talk to Fortress.
Sure.
We needed to learn. It has to be us. So again, I look at it this way. The 16 or 20 people that are on here today, basically what we're saying is you're collectively buying it. And they understand that we're bringing 260 credit unions to bear. Well, for a fledgling company like them, they're going, well, I can do that, or I can sell one at a time.
Sure.
And so then they give us that cost savings.
Yeah. So we're running out of time, unfortunately. It's like going really fast, but I do have a few more questions. So you had mentioned earlier, as we were introducing you, about diving, and that, to me, tell me about that. So you are not just diving, but you are scuba diving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that seems really, really horribly scary to me. You know that, right?
Yeah.
But but you get something that's you get an inner something from. Tell us about that, because you just are so passionate, and Laura too. But yeah, tell me about that.
Diving is meditative to me. It's the closest thing to flying that you'll ever understand because you're weightless. So, and you're in an environment that's so beautiful, and you are so relaxed, because diving is all about relaxing, to getting down, for an hour or so, and just enjoying what you're seeing, because it's another world. It's a completely another world. We dove Belize, and everybody says, oh, sharks, you're gonna be so afraid of sharks. They actually put us in the water in one area of Belize, and once we were underwater, threw chum into the water to attract the nurse sharks. One hit Laura right in the mask. Now you think that, you think, oh my God, they're gonna eat us. No, it's not like that under the water. Things aren't there just to eat you.
It's so, actually it's inspiring that things are there just to eat you, and I kind of think about that. I know you guys have encouraged me so many times to try this, but really, when you talk about that, I kind of think about the place that I work, right? If you go out into the world can be scary, but you come here and things can be thrown at you, but someone's got your back, and that's kind of how I view things at AuditLink, and just here at CU Answers. Kind of
you need to try diving, Julie.
That's what you keep telling me that, but I'm scared to death. So, Jim, just a couple more questions. What's your favorite word?
Execute.
Execute. Why execute?
It's a word that I think of every day. It's a positive word. It's a word that, in my world, means do something. Execute on behalf of a credit union. Execute in your own personal life on the goals that you have. Do it. Don't sit back and say things are going to come to me. Execute means I've got to do something to further myself, to further the company, to further my family, to further my kids. It's always been a favorite word of mine.
That's a wonderful one, and it's a great place to end. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us here at Get Connected. Don't forget to join us next month and check out the AuditLink website and store. Thanks again so much. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.